Dear friends, today we have got an opportunity to talk to Master Shiv. Master Shiv has been a successful corporate professional. However, that is not what we are going to talk to him about. He has been into the process of transcendental meditation for the last 36 years, and on having chanced upon him, I found that his methods and processes are something that all of us, all and sundry, can be enlightened to find the positive energies within us, giving us direction in our day-to-day life, giving us direction and helping us leading a stress-free life where we all actually build up to help the cosmic energy around us and within us to coincide with the larger cosmic energy of the universe. So let us start our program with Master Shiv. So the first question, Guruji, is if you could tell us something about yourself and how did you come onto this path from a successful corporate career?
My dear brothers and sisters from all over the world, welcome. Welcome to a path process for which I am in front of you today. It doesn't matter whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or from any religion, but what matters is you are first a human being and then an associate, or you may have an affinity, or you may have a likeness for some path or some processes that you follow or that you will believe in. But the most important factor that we are going to be talking today is a path-breaking, mind-blowing process. So, one of my disciples is here today, and he has decided to ask me a couple of questions for which I will try to give you my best inputs. So shall we start?
Guruji, please tell us something about yourself and how did you come onto this path from a successful corporate career?
Well, to tell you something about myself, I have to go back to my childhood, or rather my lineage. I belong to a family of sadhaks, or what is known as meditators, and our lineage goes back to more than 250 years that I know of. And I started my practice of meditation at the early age of 10, initially under the tutelage of my grandfather, Virendra Chandra Tirtha. The name may sound a little jargonish, but that's how the Sanskrit pronunciations of the names used to be at that point of time. Well, after starting my practice as a meditator from the age of 10, I once saw that my father was very unhappy, and even though he never would admonish me or he would not scold me, he really wanted me to be somebody from the professional world. So one day I asked him, what is his expectation from him? And his reply was very clear and categoric. He said, son, I have come up the very hard way to a professional path. I had hoped that you would achieve a similar professional path and go on to be somebody at least one rung above me. Well, that changed my mindset totally, because I have also been taught from the scriptures, Pita Sharg, Pita Dharma, Pitahi paramang tapa, pitori pritimapanne, priyanti sharva devata, which literally means, and it's applicable in all religions, that your father is your God, your father is your heaven, your father is everything for you. If you can please your father, you would have literally pleased all the gods that you can think of. Thus, I decided to first please my father and then fulfill my own desires of meditation. I started my professional career, moving on from education to education to education, and thereby getting into the professional world. And I presented myself to the professional world. I remolded myself to be able to adjust to the professional world. But deep within me, there was a sort of total dissatisfaction at the way the professional world would run. Because I used to come across instances where ethics was not a part of the norm. I used to come across circumstances where truth being told was not taken in the right perspective. However, I carried on. I carried on against my internal deep wishes to fulfill the wish of my father, which literally meant fulfilling the wish of all the gods. 1993, my father died. And after his death, I was still not able to achieve what I had promised him at the young age of 10. Then in the year of 2010, I realized that I was in a corporate position which was exactly one level above what my father had retired as way back in 1990s. That was a life-changing day for me, a path-changing day for me, and I decided to quit my work as a corporate employee, and I devoted my entire life thereafter into meditation, spirituality, paths to a happy and satisfied life. Today, when I look back, I feel that that probably was the biggest decision of my life which I have taken in the year 2010. In the process of my meditation, I went all around the country looking for a right teacher, because my grandfather had long expired way back in 1982. And I went from one religious place to another, and thereon. But finally, when I had totally given up any hopes of getting a guru or a teacher, I bumped into an old person, somewhere around 90 years of age, staying in a hut in Joshimath, who cooked his own food, was totally bare-bodied, even at temperatures of minus 10 to minus 15. And I went to him and said, "Would you be my guru?" I didn't even know what he knew. I didn't know what he did. It's just that I only knew one thing. He never allowed anybody into his ashram, so-called ashram. In the concept of the ashram that I am now referring to is a small hut of thatched roof with hay, covered and surrounded by 4 walls of mud. That's his ashram. Now, since nobody is allowed to his ashram, it made my resolve more stronger to be allowed to be inside that place. And after long 15 days of arduous living outside his ashram, literally without food, he finally allowed me inside. As it so turned out, he was an IIT graduate and a very educated person professionally and as for the academics. But after his graduation from IIT, he left the worldly affairs and started moving around all over India looking for the right path to meditation, moving from place to place, and finally he settled in a place called Joshimath. He first was not ready to accept me as his disciple. However, I made him agree to allow me to clean his ashram and take care of his food requirements, which is cooking the food. Now food was always available as and when the villagers used to give it to him. But at times, even that was not available. There have been days when he was without food, and I have literally seen with my own eyes, he was without food for 10 days. Because there was food only available for one person, and he used to give it to me. In a slow process, I started learning the path of meditation from him. And after a couple of years of staying with him intermittently, of learning from him intermittently, and visiting him on a regular basis, I was finally told that, son, it's time for you to do your own meditation. And for that, you need to sit in your own temple to do it. You are not a person for this ashram. A time would come when you would be a part of this ashram, when I won't be there. Incidentally, he is no longer alive. And I came back and started my own meditation, purely on the basis of guidelines, guidances, and the learnings which I had collected from him and from my grandfather long back. For the last 8 years, I have been practicing this on a daily basis, and today I can vouch to say that this path is so powerful that nobody can go back without having achieved what they really want to achieve. So that's my answer to you.
Thank you, Guruji. The next question, Guruji, if you could kindly elaborate on what you practice and what you teach.
You see, I have analyzed something, that being a student of science, if a particular path or a process is not related to science, then it's very difficult for people like me and for most people to internalize it or to accept it in their minds. So, whatever I practice is exactly similar to whatever I teach. There's only, of course, one part, which is the rituals part, which I do not teach. The reason behind is that for performing certain rituals, one has to work on one's own self in terms of certain abstinence, which a normal household person or a person from the part of our society, or for that matter any society, may or may not be able to adjust. So I do not teach rituals, but I do practice rituals. And what do I practice on the other front is meditation. Now, when I match both of these two, I find that both of these facets of our heritage, which dates back to thousands of years, is basically an alternative to one another. You can practice rituals or you can practice meditations. Done in the right path, done in the right spirit, done with full commitment, the desired results remain the same. Now why is that? The reason for that is the entire universe, you, me, every living creature, everything that you see around you has been created or has been evolved over a period of millions and millions of years from an energy source. As a matter of fact, this entire earth, this universe, the celestial planets are all evolved out of an infinite source of energy. This infinite source of energy is what is known as the cosmic energy. Now, this is a statement which I am not only making. If you go on the sites, different sites that is available, you would find that almost all scientists, either from physics or from chemistry or from nuclear physics or from astrophysics, have drawn this conclusion that this entire universe and many such universes available in the galaxies, in different galaxies, have all evolved from a single infinite source of cosmic energy, which literally converts into the fact that you, me, we are all part of that cosmic energy. Now, if by some method we are able to analyze and align our energy which is within us with the cosmic energy, what happens? We are in absolute synchronous mode or in absolute sync with the cosmic energy. And when we are in sync with the cosmic energy, the energy within us, which is the positive energy, keeps going up. Now, how is it that only the positive energies keeps going up? The positive energies keeps going up because our bodies are open receptors, and in the universe, the infinite cosmic energy radiates positive energies only. Now, these energies, when it comes to us, increases our positive energy level. Now, when we talk about positive energy level, we need to understand that our body has a balance of positive and negative energies. Imagine a body is a machine, which it is, and this machine is run on a motor, which is the heart. The motor keeps on pumping day in, day out, just like your domestic motors, drawing in blood and then pushing the blood out to different parts of the body. Now, where does the energy or the electricity to run this motor come from? This comes from the acidic and the alkaline reactions within the body. Now, these acidic and alkaline reactions give rise to an electric charge which runs the motor, or what we know as the heart. Now, while it gives the electric energy, it also releases toxins. This is very similar to a battery which you may have in your car or which you may have in your house as a power backup. If you have noticed something, that the battery gives the electric current for the operations of your car, or battery gives the electric current for the operations of your inverters to give power to your lights, fans, etc. But along with that, if you keep watching the battery or keep noticing the battery, after a few months, copper sulfate starts getting deposited at one of the terminals. Now that is the waste of that battery. That is harmful to the battery to the extent a time comes when the copper sulfate totally covers and encapsulates that terminal, and then the battery no longer is able to transmit electric charge or electric current to the car or to the body, or for that matter to your house. So what do? From time to time, we clean the terminals. When we clean the terminals are good as new and they start emitting energies once again. The same thing applies to us also. We keep on drawing energies in a path of meditation, and in the process what happens is we keep on cleansing the toxins out of our body. Now what does that translate into? That basically translates into a very, very important aspect of our life. Medically, if you see, right at the top of our forehead, at the center of the eyebrows, just behind the skull, is a gland which is known as the pineal gland. This is also known in the Hindu mythology as the Trinetra, which is found in Lord Shiva or Ma Durga or Mahakali, etc., etc., etc. But what happens by the age of 11, this pineal gland gets totally calcified. Now what is calcified? What does it mean by calcified? It gets coated with a base which is known as calcium fluoride. Now where does this calcium fluoride come in? You must have your early childhood thoughts, or if you go back to your childhood, your parents, my parents, we have all been taught to brush our teeth with a toothbrush and a toothpaste. Now toothpaste normally contains fluorine. This fluorine reacts with the calcium in our bones to form calcium fluoride. This calcium fluoride ultimately encapsulates the pineal gland, and this makes the pineal gland just like an egg, where you have a tough outer shell and a soft inner yolk. So the pineal gland loses its capability, its power to function. This results in the pineal gland's inability to command the lower part of our cortex in the brain, which decides or helps us to take the right decisions. Now, if you talk about the process or the path which I follow and the path which I teach, the path which I teach is known pretty well to most of the people, which is a similar form of transcendental meditation. In the transcendental meditation, what happens is you activate your 7 chakras, starting from the base of your spine, known as the Muladhara, thereby moving on to the upper base of your genitals, and then on to your stomach, and then on to your pericardium, that is where the chest and the stomach meets, then moving on to the center of your chest, and thereby after that at the base of your throat, and finally into the position of the pineal gland, and lastly at the top of your head. If by some method you could channelize the energy from the base of your spine, which is lying idle, which is lying inactive, in this route, the pineal gland starts getting activated. By that, what I mean is the calcification starts breaking down, because the energy flow in that area keeps on increasing, and ultimately a time comes when the total calcification breaks down and the pineal gland starts functioning. All this while I was talking about a path of drawing energy from the cosmic, infinite cosmic energy, and then utilizing this energy to activate the energy within us at the base of the spine, and finally to move this powerful added energy from the base of the spine to the top of our head, and that would ultimately make us achieve nirvikar chit. Nirvikar chit means a mind without emotions, a mind capable of rational thinking, a mind capable of analysis, a mind capable of foreseeing futures, a mind capable of taking the right decisions at the right time, a mind which can control the release of negative toxins in our body. This is the path that I teach, and to go into a little more elaboration, the process is very simple. What we do is we start with the understanding of our mind, which has got three stages. One is the unconscious stage, the second is the subconscious stage, and the third is the conscious stage. There are three stages of the mind. So what we do is, the unconscious stage is not capable of taking decisions, whereas the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are all both capable of taking decisions. The path process of decisions or actions is, the subconscious mind gives the command to the conscious mind, and the conscious mind gives the necessary command to the physiological body, and the physiological body then acts on it by either doing some actions or radiating energies. So this path starts with the principle that we would first blank out the subconscious mind so that you have a clean slate to start off with, and after the subconscious mind is totally cleaned out, we would then bring in the positive thoughts which is attached to the positive energies, focused thoughts which is attached with the focused energies, directed goals which is attached to the positive energies into the subconscious mind. And from that subconscious mind, these thoughts, actions or commands then would move to the conscious mind, and from the conscious mind would evolve physiological actions and radiation of positive energy. Remember, the energy that you radiate can move to anybody, can touch anybody, can transform anybody, increase the positive energy of that person. And energy does not require for that person to be in your presence, because energy movement does not have any boundaries or limitations of distance, place, religion, location, or for that matter any other geographical parameters. I have been practicing focusing of these positive energies from the cosmic energy. My definition of this cosmic energy is Yoga Maya, or some would call it Durga, some would call it Kali, or some would call it infinite cosmic energy. Call it whatever you want. But that is, to me, very similar to a woman, because if you see something, in all the living creatures around, only the female has the capability to reproduce. So, cosmic energy, or the infinite cosmic energy, which has reproduced so many millions of galaxies and millions of universe, amongst that one of them is the Milky Way, or the galaxy of Milky Way, which has the Mother Earth over here, has all evolved out of the cosmic energy, which means the cosmic energy has the power to reproduce. Hence, I define that cosmic energy as mother, as my mother. The same mother which gave birth to me, the same mother which gives me the food from this soil, the same mother which is my country, the same mother which is this world. I have defined that for myself as mother. You are free to define it the way you would want to. And this cosmic energy is what I draw, or try to draw within me, to activate my pineal gland, and thus it results in me able to analyze the past, foresee the future, blankly present. My teachings, my guidances, my courses, as and when I do take courses occasionally, is all directed to help people to achieve this path by blanking the subconscious mind, putting in the positive energies, transferring those positive energies into the conscious mind, and resulting from that conscious mind are actions, activities, physiological and energy transmission, which ultimately results in achievement of the desired goals. That is the path which I teach, and the path for doing this activity is through a process of transcendental meditation using monosyllables.
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, on to the next question. How does the common man benefit from this practice?
I would like to first understand what is this common man. Common man could be anybody and everybody. This is a path, this is a process which does not define or does not have a clarification or a qualification requirement, which means every person, common, uncommon, rich, poor, sophisticated or illiterate, can benefit from this path. Let's take an example. If somebody is passing through a severe stress, that stress can be in any form. It could be a financial stress, it could be a relationship stress, it could be a professional stress, or it could be a circumstantial stress. Now all these factors of stress is applicable not only to a common man, but even to the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor. That is why you would find some of the richest Fortune 500 company owners coming and following this path. Or you would also find a street vendor who does not earn more than 100 rupees also coming into this path. So there is a huge diversity of people. This path is not bounded by any class, community, status, position, or any other limitations. Now coming to the benefit of this path. This path teaches you, as I told you, in one line, to analyze the past, to foresee the future and plan your present. Now what does it really, literally convert into? You have a problem, but you do not find any solution. Now my philosophy is, if there is a problem, there has to be a solution. If there are no problems, there is no solution. But if you say that there is a problem but there is no solution, then I would turn around and say it is not a problem but it is an illusion. To be a little more elaborate, let's take an example. Someone is facing a problem of not being able to get a job of his choice. Now, that is a problem. The problem does not lie with the fact that he is not getting a job. The problem lies with the fact probably he is not targeting the right jobs. The solution does not lie in the fact that the interviewers call him and reject him. The solution lies in the fact that probably he is not presenting himself with a positive attitude, which makes the person who is interviewing him write him off even before they have asked the relevant questions. Let's take another example. A person has a huge debt and he doesn't have the money to pay the banks, his EMIs have remained unpaid for many months, is that a problem? Yes, it's a problem. Is there a solution to this problem? Yes, there is a solution to the problem. So he turns around and says to me, Guruji, I don't have the money to pay for these payments, for these debts. What do I do? Where do I get the money? This problem has no solution. I turn around and tell him, my dear son, this problem also has a solution. And the solution lies in the fact that how much of thought or planning have you given to reorganize the debts that you have incurred? Number one. Number two, are the debts incurred due to genuine reasons or the debts incurred due to wrongful reasons? If it has been incurred due to the wrongful reasons, you have to first correct the wrongful reasons before trying to address the debts. If it has been incurred due to rightful reasons, then you have to look in the future and create a planned path for yourself as to how you're going to address it. Let's take an example. A person has a debt of 1 lakh rupees and his income resource right now is 0. And he tells me, tell me Guruji, what can the future tell me about how do I repay these loans? I turn around and tell him, what is that work plan do you have in your mind to do for the next 6 months to generate 10,000 rupees at least? Forget about 1 lakh. He has no answer. So if a person is not mentally planned to earn even 10,000 rupees in 6 months, he can never plan to repay back that 1 lakh rupees. So the solution doesn't lie in repayment of the loan. The solution lies in analyzing ways to generate funds to repay the loans. Let's take another problem. Somebody tells me, I'm not able to accept the idea that my mother has expired and I still miss her. Is that a problem? No. That is not a problem. That's an illusion. The reason that is an illusion is it has no solution. You cannot bring your mother back to this earth in the physical form. But this illusion can also be converted into a solution. You can bring the energy of your mother, which is still a part of the cosmic energy right now, into you by imbibing her favorites, her expectations within you, and thus gain a satisfaction that I am walking the path exactly as my mother would have wanted. So, there is a problem and there is a solution lying somewhere. If you know the root cause of the problem, you can plan for the solution, and the solution is only a result. It is like this. You go to a shop to buy a toothpaste. What's the first name that comes into your mind? Probably Pepsodent or probably Colgate or I don't know what. Or maybe if you go to buy a soap, the first name that would come into your mind is probably Lux or Dove or whatever. Why is it that that's the name which comes into your mind first? The reason is those products have been marketed in such a manner that it has got imprinted into your subconscious mind. So you may or may not be really looking towards Lux, but the name which comes into your mouth is Lux. And when you buy the Lux, you bought the soap, which means you took the soap and you gave some currencies to the shopkeeper. That is the transaction. But the thought of buying that soap came into your mind because of the marketing initiatives or the branding initiative or the advertising initiatives done by those companies for months together through your television channels, through your newspapers, through other modes of communication, to imprint that into your subconscious mind. So the solution of buying that Lux soap, which is an exchange or a transaction of soap and money, is a resultant of the planning of those marketing people. So the solution that you are looking at is actually a resultant of the planning which you need to do for the future. Transcendental meditation teaches you to do exactly that. And that is what I try to propagate, teach and communicate to anybody who's willing to spend 15 minutes in a day of 24 hours, which would ultimately change his entire life.
Guruji, how does one learn from you in case they are from other cities?
Reaching me is very simple. Some of my disciples have created a website by the name of www.mastershiv.in. You could go into that website and you would find my mobile number there. Otherwise, it's also very much available on this video, 99711888417. Or you could also send me a mail on the email ID which is available at my website, and I would definitely get back to you.
If someone learns from you, how many hours of daily practice does he require to activate his chakras?
As I had told you just a few moments back, that you start with a session of maybe 2 days or 3 days, and once you have completed the session of 2 to 3 days, the daily practice does not require more than 15 to 20 minutes of your time. I would ideally prefer to give it 20 minutes of your time, because the first 5 minutes you would probably be helping yourself if you detoxify your physical body through certain pranayams and yogas, followed by 15 minutes of the meditation, and that's it. Apart from that, if you come across a major issue which you feel that you are not able to get a solution, if you suddenly get into a situation of high stress, if you get into a situation of frustration, don't be worried, don't be flustered, don't be disillusioned. Go into any corner of your house, go into any corner of your office, even go and sit inside the toilet. Meditate for 5 minutes. The path will evolve in front of you, and it would evolve through you.
How does one learn from you in case he is from another city?
You see, it's very simple to learn from me, even if you are not located in where I stay. Incidentally, I stay in Faridabad, which is near to Delhi. But I do travel all across India from time to time, giving courses at different locations. But in spite of that, apart from that, if you are not able to reach to me in any of those programs, you are free to contact me, and we can probably set up a video conferencing, and I can teach you through a video conferencing mode also.
Do you initiate anybody and everybody for the higher level of initiation?
Well, I do initiate people for the higher level of initiation, but I do not initiate anybody and everybody. I initiate only those people who have achieved the activation of chakras up to the 4th chakra, which is good enough for a normal family person. But beyond that requires higher initiations, and higher initiations are only for those people who have decided to make themselves inert to all perils, emotions and activities around them in the society.
How do you plan to promote this wonderful technique for the benefit of the outside world?
Well, I had never thought of promoting this technique to the outside world, but as I come across so many people who are stressed, who are depressed, who pass through psychiatric problems like anxiety neurosis, who have high problems of high blood pressure, who have problems of diabetes, who have problems of obesity, I feel that I also need to now come out into the outside world. So I have decided that twice a month I would be going around all over the country at different locations, trying to educate people on this path and bringing as many people as possible into this mold, into this fold, so that they can lead a better life and they in turn can initiate people around them so that the society can be a better society to live in.
Thank you, Guruji, for your time. It was a wonderful, insightful and knowledgeable session, and it was a wonderful time spent. Thanks once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master Shiv, for this wonderful experience, wonderful, insightful experience for us. And for all those who would like to benefit from Master Shiv, please log on to www.mastershiv.in, or you could directly contact him on his mobile 99711 88417. Also, he's conducting a program on stress management and removal of depression in the city of Delhi on September 8th and 9th. For further details of the program, please log on to his website www.mastershiv.in. Thank you.